to get them into a gym after a full day, which is why also I'm a really big proponent of morning workouts. Me personally, I'm a huge morning workout
Nice.
because I think that if you get it out of the way in the morning, much less likely you'll skip it.
But the biggest change was on my mind, my discipline, my habits, the way that I live my life, how I prioritize my responsibilities. That's what really made the biggest change. And the second reason, it's probably because they tried in the past and they had a bad experience. Maybe they tried to lose some fat and it didn't go well. They didn't have a good experience with a trainer, or they got injured because they were trying by themselves. So there has to be a reason why you don't like
And I mean, that's what everyone, no, not everyone. Some people like to be very slim, but I like to have noticeably big muscle and low body fat. So that's what I really want to focus on. I'm really happy to have a friend like you because your knowledge and having your discipline.
I have some friends that went to the army, and they will tell me these stories like with the boots, right? You're lifting, you're going on I don't know how many miles walks in the desert with those heavy boots. Your feet would just get destroyed pretty much.
Welcome to another episode of the Soothing Semantics podcast. I'm your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, leave your comments. Of course, for all of your real estate needs in South Florida, make sure to follow me at Rafi the Realtor. You can check my link in bio where I have my weekly email newsletter so you can stay in the know of everything South Florida real estate. Without further ado, we have Gabe Bromberg, also known
Gabriel.
as it's Coach Gabriel on Instagram. He's a personal trainer, a good friend of mine, neighborhood local, and his Instagram, his personal trainer, his fitness Instagram page has blown up in the last 1 to 2 months. When I first met you, I mean, we know each other for a couple of months now, but your channel went from under 10,000 followers to almost 100,000 in a very, very short time.
First of all, Rafi, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely, man.
This is the first time that I record a podcast, as I was saying, so it's an honor to be here. Yeah, and going back to it, in the last month, 2 months, my account has blown up, and it's probably gonna be something that we're gonna be talking about throughout this podcast, but it's all been about discipline and consistency, and it's what I try to preach all the time.
I'm very honored that your first podcast experience is on my show. It's also amazing that we have this view.
This view is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's really exciting, man. It's gorgeous. Like you have everything. You have the grass, the golf course, the little lagoon here. You have the ocean over there. So whoever's looking at your angle should be able to see the ocean in the background. You got these towers. It's got just a little bit of everything, and it's
and I gotta say, since like there's no building,
obstructs.
obstructs the view, right? Yeah,
It's a nice way to watch a podcast with a view in the background. So I hope you
I
guys
agree.
enjoy that. But in terms of the fitness component, Gabriel has a very, very simple way of explaining things where I think a lot of personal trainers on social media, they overcomplicate. And Gabriel gets to the point in a way that's easy to follow along with. The whole term KISS, keep it simple, stupid. You know that term?
Yeah, I've
Where
heard it
like,
before.
and you just understand how to get the point across. And I think you also answer a lot of questions that I have. So, for example, the sugar discussion, where you bring in regular Coke versus diet versus Coke Zero, or you even made that video of how soda is it's not better than water necessarily.
The
The
hope,
point is
pretty
if you're
much.
gonna do soda, you're better off doing the non-sugar.
I mean, I agree with a lot of that you said. Doing research online and in social media, and I think that this is one of the keys that made me grow in the past month and 2 months is because I found what it's called like a blue ocean space, right? Where there's so much opportunity. So I saw a lot of trainers online making these complicated videos, advanced videos, pretty much. And most people are beginners, right? They're beginners. They don't even know the names of the muscles, or they don't really need to know the names or of the specific muscles, right? They just want to learn the basics and how to get started. That's when I started to have a different approach with my content, and how can somebody that knows pretty much nothing about working out or gym or nutrition start to their fitness journey, their transformation, with very simple tips that you can learn in 20, 30, 60 seconds.
You guys have to check it out. It's Coach Gabriel. Make sure to check it out. Check it out after the episode, though, because then you're going to get distracted and not come back. So, a couple of fitness questions in general, but first I want to rewind a little bit and ask you how you ended up in the personal training space, because I know you were a bigger boy. You used to be a chunky guy.
Yeah,
So originally you are from Venezuela, right?
from Venezuela.
In our city, there's a lot of Jews from Latin America, and Gabe happens to be one of them. So
Yeah.
he has the nice Latin accent. I don't have that, unfortunately. But a heavier dude. You know, a couple of years ago, you were a heavier kid. So start with that journey of kind of how you went from fat to fit.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a long journey, so I'm gonna go all the way from the beginning. I started training when, I mean, I've always been doing sports since I was a kid, swimming, tennis, soccer, right? But when I turned 15, it's when I started my fitness journey, right? I started going to the gym, learning, training every 3 times a week, and I stayed consistent throughout high school. I got into very good shape. Then I graduated high school, and I started to leave my fitness side, my health on the side, right? And that went on for, I would say, 5 years that I was in college,
Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't have good habits. I wasn't surrounded by the best people in the sense of that are a good influence to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? A good lifestyle, I would say, a healthy lifestyle. Then I graduated. I went to school in Philadelphia. I graduated, moved to Miami. My family lives here. And that's when I wanted to make a switch. I had just broken up with my girlfriend, actually, and I wanted to make a switch. I wanted to reach the best version of myself. And based on the knowledge that I had gained when I was in high school, I wanted to use that knowledge to make my transformation. And that's been a transformation of 3 years now, where I was in 180 pounds. Right now, I'm in about 188 pounds. So I made a complete body recompositioning. Right now, I'm sitting at about 9% of body fat. Before, I was in more than 16, 17% body fat. But the biggest change was on my mind, my discipline, my habits, the way that I live my life, how I prioritize my responsibilities. That's what really made the biggest change. And I went through another route in this that I'm saying, but
No, it's perfectly said, man. Perfectly said. You covered all the bases. You covered the unhealthy period, how it led to the healthy period, and what the healthy period has allowed you to do in terms of not only physical fitness, but mental clarity, and how it spilled over to all of the other areas of your life and has made you a more effective person. And obviously, better looking aesthetically, physically, being fit is the foundation for everything else.
100% agree
It's
with
the
that.
foundation for everything else. And
Yeah.
like I've mentioned on prior to the episode, and we're going to go into it, is my challenge has been, and I've had periods where where I had a six pack, but my challenge is kind of losing the visceral fat and pretty healthy. I do have a big appetite. I could eat a lot, but my thing is I just have to go into a calorie deficit, and I also don't want to lose a lot of the size. I like the size.
Right.
So the thing that I guess maybe I'm worried about is, yes, I want to shred body fat, but I also don't want to be a skinny dude. I like being a big guy.
Pretty much exactly, like lose pure body fat.
Yeah, like ideally, that's what everybody
Yeah,
wants to do. Yeah,
exactly. And there's so many ways to do it, easy ways to do it. Honestly, as you mentioned, it all comes down to three things, I would say. It comes down to calorie deficit, which in order to maximize the body fat, the fat loss and minimize the muscular loss, right? You're gonna go in the range between 300 and 500 calories from your maintenance calories. That would be your calorie deficit. You're gonna eat about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight every day. And you're gonna do at least 2 to 3 times strength training a week.
I do 6 times usually.
Wow.
Here and there, I'll miss, but yeah, no, I do Monday. No, Sunday to Friday. I just take off Saturdays.
I don't think I've never trained 6 times in 1 week. Like strength training, going to the gym. I don't think so.
But I'm cardio. I need to. Luckily, we live on this beautiful walking path. If I walked even 3 to 4 times a week, 3 miles around the circle, I would probably be. I'm sure I'd be slimmer than me.
Walking is, in my opinion, is the most underrated and your best ally when it comes to fitness, right? For two reasons. Pretty much, it's something easy that you can add to your life, right? It doesn't change your lifestyle much, and anybody can walk, right? So you pretty much are burning more calories in your day without even realizing it, right? And the second reason, it's because it's a low intensity cardio. And comparing to a high intensity cardio, you get less tired, you use less energy. And a lot of people that are runners, for example, and they do high intensity cardio, they have a lot of cravings after running. So it
Mhm.
makes it harder for them to stay in a calorie deficit. Whenever,
So interesting.
yeah, if you do low intensity cardio, you're not gonna have those cravings that a lot of people suffer from, and it'll be easier for you to get your calorie goal, pretty much.
You're also not putting the pressure on the joints after years of running and jogging. And it's also easier to, for me, it's easier to be consistent with it. I
Yeah,
don't enjoy running. Some people love it. I did a lot of it. It's funny because in the army, that's all we were doing. We were running a lot.
with bags and stuff, right? Like
Yeah,
heavy weight.
honestly, man, I fucking hate running. I think just some people I think from the army love it. I'm just gonna grab some water.
Yeah,
I think some people from the army love it. I personally like it made me hate running.
I have some friends that went to the army, and they will tell me these stories like with the boots, right? You're lifting, you're going on I don't know how many miles walks in the desert with those heavy boots. Your feet would just get destroyed pretty much.
Your feet get destroyed. You get chafing. Not to gross anyone out, but it's part of if you athletes get it, all kinds of people get it.
The respect that I have, like honestly, for people that go through things like that, like you, man, like
Mm.
the army, it's huge. You know, like not everybody can do it. I feel,
I appreciate it.
especially you, because I mean, you're from here, you're from the U.S.,
Mhm.
you're not Israeli, right? So you don't really have an obligation to do it, and you wanted to do it, and that makes it even better,
As far as fitness goes, it's a cool discussion, but I just want
man.
to. This is your show today, bro.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit more of an idea about fat loss because I think a lot of people don't even get to working out because they've gotten to a point where they're so overweight. It's just they don't. They're like, I don't have the mental capacity, not the mental capacity, the fortitude to actually go to the gym day in and day out for 6 months, a year, 2 years. They can't even go for a day.
Yeah,
And so if some people are 100 pounds overweight, 200 pounds overweight, even 50 pounds overweight, that journey could be grueling, could take a long time. And they're so used to having their crappy croissant in the morning. They're used to the routine. I get up at 7, I go and get my shake and my this and my that. For lunch I have my blah blah blah. For dinner I have my this. A lot of it has bread and sugar and all those other things. And that's what gives them comfort, especially if the rest of their day isn't that exciting. If they have a job they don't really like and things
yeah,
are kind of mundane, to get them into a gym after a full day, which is why also I'm a really big proponent of morning workouts. Me personally, I'm a huge morning workout guy
nice.
because I think that if you get it out of the way in the morning, much less likely you'll skip it. Now, if you're a disciplined person and you go in the evenings and you're able to stick to that, great. But I think for people that aren't, that really don't like the gym, either because they aren't fit, or I mean, that's usually why people don't like the gym because they aren't.
Yeah,
Once you start to get even decently fit,
you get
you
addicted to
love
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a huge step, right? Like for somebody that uh, has never worked out in their entire life, uh, they already have a set lifestyle that it's not optimal for their health, right?
Mhm.
But I think first it all comes to them, right? Like they have to want the change and they have to understand why, right? They need a purpose. If they don't want to do it, like there's no trainer in the world that's gonna do them for them. Like that doesn't work like that. They need a commitment. But most people, they also need support, somebody that holds them accountable, that guides them through their journey, right? So what I see with a lot of beginners is that they start looking a bunch of things online or getting a bunch of recommendations, and at the end of the day, you get overwhelmed. You have so much information, and you don't know what to do about it and what to do with that information.
I think that's a massive part of it. Is you have all these personal trainers saying, "Oh, you want to grow this part of the tricep? Do this." And then another person goes, "No, that's a terrible lift. Do it this way." And people are like, "I don't know what the fuck to do."
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy says do it this way. This girl says do it that way. They're super pro calisthenics. They believe weightlifting. I don't know what to believe. You got to just start. That's the first part. You start
100%.
and then you figure out, you realize that for me, much more about two things: consistency, for diet aside, just gym things, consistency and progressive overload.
Yeah.
It's just lifting, really putting yourself, pushing yourself past your limit. And you could always do in one more set, two more reps. Like most days where I go to the gym, I know I could work out harder, but I say to myself,
I mean, the fact that you showed up, it's the most important.
it's good enough. I'm not interested in being Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
I'm not on steroids. Could I get bigger? Could I get more shredded? You could always get, I guess, to some degree more fit, unless you're on unless you're on trend. But like, I'm not gonna make myself crazy. I want to do an hour and a half in the gym. Done. I'm not gonna spend 3, 4 hours in the gym. For me, I know what I need to do. At this point, I'm already in a maintenance. I've been working out for half of my life. So aside from losing my body fat, I just want to maintain the muscle. I'm pretty happy with my size.
And I mean, it's great that the consistency that you mentioned, and I want to touch more on that
Yeah.
because that's the hardest part. Like, I do relate a lot, and this is what I do with my clients. Like the the muscle mind connection, but not talking about the gym here. Talking about how one thing goes with the other, and it's impossible to get a result, a transformation without working on both,
Mhm.
right? So what I usually do is going and building small habits week by week that it starts to build up, and once something becomes a habit, it means that it's part of your routine, it's part of your life, and you don't really have to put effort into it because it's something that you're already doing without even thinking of it. And that's my goal, right? Adding small habits to your daily routine that makes it easy for you to fitness results, pretty much. So for example, as we were mentioning before, the daily steps, how to add more steps to your day. You don't need to go 5 times a week to the gym, but let's start doing it twice a week, just 1 hour trainings. Maybe replacing some snacks with healthier options. Don't drink your calories, which is something that I emphasize so much. A lot of people are drinking their calories with like orange juices, for example, which I'm not saying they're unhealthy, but if you're on the fat loss journey, they're not optimal for that because they're
OJ,
super high on sugar and high in calorie.
yeah, you're taking oranges, you're concentrating them into a cup. How many oranges does it take to put in an 8 ounce cup of OJ? Probably like
Yeah, like
a
six,
lot of
right?
OJ, a
Like,
lot. Yeah.
and so you're taking 6, 8, I don't know how many oranges calories in one single drink. So if you think about it, yeah, it's not optimal. Like your coffee, you don't need to add sugar or cream to your coffee. If you're doing that, you don't really like coffee. You know what I mean? Like drink is
Black coffee.
black coffee or add some almond milk.
I just drink. This is also what I used to have in the army. Great Turkish coffee, dirt, and just hot dirt. I take it. This is what I drink, man. Like
Yeah,
I don't, and that's funny because
Turkish coffee is strong, huh?
yeah, it
Yeah,
gets me like not just like it wakes me up.
yeah.
It's amazing. It doesn't taste as good as a really sweet, caramel, whatever the heck. No, but I know I'm not getting all the sugar and all the other garbage. It's just a straight coffee. And I don't mind it. I like that it's got also a kick to it. Turkish coffee is strong.
I tried it like years ago. I gotta get some. I want to try it now.
They have you can get it at any of these, like, I get this, like, the Israeli company. I'll
What's the
show it to
name?
you. Elite is the company, but
Okay.
it just says Tulki. Like, I'll show you. I'll
Okay.
show it to you. I have a little packet I can give you. You can
Okay.
try it out.
Cool.
but I had it this morning.
That's why you had so much energy today.
It's funny because I don't even think I have that much. I took a melatonin last night because I was having trouble sleeping, so
No,
I still feel a little bit woozy from it. Sometimes I wake
yeah,
up, the melatonin, it helps me sleep great, but when I wake up, I'm a little sluggish from it. So I woke up a little sluggish, and the Turkish coffee definitely balanced it.
yeah.
Now I'm still feeling like I can go to bed right now and I'll pass out.
Well,
So it's yeah,
we're, we're saying, or are we talking about that?
just that into coffee. Well, we're talking about the discipline.
And I wanna something that I didn't add in the introduction, and it's something that definitely shaped the discipline that I have now. Last year, 2024, if you go into my profile after watching this podcast, you're gonna see a pinned post, and it's about a push-up challenge that I did last year. Okay, so I started on January 1st, 2024, and that's how I actually created this page. I created it the same day, and that's what the page was about, the push-up challenge. So I was doing one more consecutive push-up for every day of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So on day one push-up. On day 100, 100 consecutive push-ups. On day 366, because last year there were 366 days, 366 consecutive push-ups without missing a day, recording and
How,
posting
how many
videos every
breaks? How
day.
many breaks can you take to get to those 360? Just throughout the day? It doesn't matter. Just
No. So it was in a row, like without taking breaks. So how were my breaks? In plank position. So I would do, let's say, 20 push-ups, stay like this, like balance myself like this, 20 more, and all the way like that up to when I was in the 300 days, it would take me more than 25 minutes. So it was 25
wait, you must
consecutive minutes on a plank position while I had to do more than
you must have
300
been
push-ups.
dead after the
Yeah,
end of
yeah.
it. You were like destroyed.
But it was crazy because I wasn't that much. Like my body got to a point on day 150, it was harder than on day 300. My body got to the point that it built this strength and this stamina, that it wasn't the physical factor that was the hardest. It was
Mhm.
all in the mind. Like, yes, it was burning, and so I had to go and taking that pain. How David Goggins say, enjoy the pain, right?
Yep.
And also the hardest part, as we were saying, it's showing up. Like I knew, imagine waking up in the morning and you have to do more than 300 push-ups early because you have a bunch of things to do in your day. So that's the first thing you have to do, and you know you're gonna suffer for 25 consecutive minutes. And the next day you have to do the same. And maybe that day you woke up a bit sick with with less energy. I had no excuses. I had to do it, and that shaped my mind. That really shaped the way that I see discipline, and I define it in one sentence: is discipline is doing the things that you don't want to do but you have to do. I see it that way.
It's amazing. And also another thing to add on to that, it's doing the things that or rather avoiding the things now for the things you really want later. You know what I'm saying? And not having the instant gratification to say, "Oh, I want that cheeseburger now," or whatever it is. What I want later on is so much better for me.
So
It's
much more
healthier, more
valuable.
desirable, more valuable, and being able to look down the road and choose the better thing and forego the thing you really want now, but it isn't as good. I think that's the key. So so now we covered discipline and we covered fat loss.
Yeah.
What would you say to get somebody that hates going to the gym, whether they're overweight or they're not even so overweight, they're just out of shape and they're older and they're not as healthy as they should be?
Yeah.
They kind of just their body, they might not be fat, but they have like a kind of a jelly-like kind of looking body. How do they get themselves to actually step foot in the gym? What does it take?
Yeah. So first, it'll come to understanding why they don't like the gym, because most people they don't like the gym for two reasons. The first one is they get there and they don't know what to do, and they get how do you say it? Not embarrassed, but shy, or they don't want to go into the machines because they feel like people are gonna make fun of them because they don't know how to use them. How do you say that?
Nervous, shy, intimidated.
Yeah, intimidated. I would say they get it
I think when people that are really not in shape walk into a gym and there's a lot of fit people there, they're like, oh, I don't belong here.
exactly,
Yeah, they're
and
like all these fit people, I don't belong here. It's kind of like when there's a room full of rich people and a poor person walks in there and goes, "Oh, these are rich people place. I don't belong here."
Yeah, like the imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
Imposter
exactly.
syndrome.
So that's one of the reasons. And the second reason, it's probably because they tried in the past and they had a bad experience. Maybe they tried to lose some fat and it didn't go well. They didn't have a good experience with a trainer, or they got injured because they were trying by themselves. So there has to be a reason why you don't like it,
For
right?
sure.
First, it comes to that, and the second way, it's definitely having somebody that holds you accountable and guides you through the process. Like if you know you're somebody that it doesn't have enough discipline to at least try to show up 4 times a week, 3 times a week for, let's say, 2 months, because in 2 months you can say, okay, I don't like it,
Right.
and that's fine if you don't like it. But if you don't stay consistent for that time frame, you cannot really say that you don't like it. You know what I mean? So definitely having somebody holds you accountable, and it's start to push you, and a lot of people need that. Like we all do. Like even myself, and I mentioned this on a story a week ago. I work out 4 times a week. I didn't. It was Sunday. I didn't feel like working out. I was tired. I went to bed late. I wasn't gonna go to the gym, and then my mom pushed me. And even though I'm very disciplined, I think I've mastered it. I still sometimes need those pushes. I hope I answered that
That's a
question
great
and
answer.
extended
It's a great answer.
myself a bit.
Even people that love fitness, you get days where you just don't want to go. Like a morning like this, if this was let's say this was a Monday and I had no work that day, even though it's not like it's just whenever I think that to myself, I'm like, I don't even know what that means because I choose to work.
Yeah,
Like I
exactly.
choose to work. But Monday morning, whatever it was, if I just took the day off from any sort of work and it was a cloudy day like this, very relaxing, kind of gloomy day, I could totally see myself being like, I'm not really in the mood to go and start sweating and lifting weights and putting myself through the pain of it. But and I've missed workouts in my life. I think everybody
Of
has.
course,
Everyone
like
has.
it's part of it.
But most of the time, I can proudly say that I look at it and I go, dude, you're going to feel so much better. Not even once you finish. Once you finish, you'll feel amazing.
Yeah.
But once you start to get your hand on the first weight, you'll thank yourself that you actually got there, because once you're a few sets in and your muscles are pumped up and you're sweating and you're in the zone, it's a no-brainer.
Once you're in, you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're in. And you just mentioned something very interesting. Like, yes, we all skip the gym, right? Like, there's no perfect in anything, and even less like in a fitness journey, right? To say it like that. I see a lot of people that, for example, they have their plan, right? But once they find an obstacle, like let's say they miss a workout, now they say on a Tuesday, their second workout, they say, oh, now my week is not perfect. I'm not gonna work out for the rest of the week,
Right.
right? Or they go to an event and they eat a piece of cake and then they say, they already ruined my diet. I'm gonna go and eat 10 pieces of cake. So uh, a small bump, like an obstacle, it's about continuing with your plan. Like it doesn't
Right.
matter if you fail. Like stand up and continue with your plan. Like don't throw everything away because you made a mistake. Not to say it a mistake.
You fucked up.
Yeah,
You
you
know.
fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We all do it. Big deal.
exactly, and it's part of it.
What do you think about alcohol in terms of your fitness? Could people have a little bit of it? Should they cut it out completely? Does it, you don't, do you ever have any kind of alcohol or you don't?
Yeah, I mean, in those 5 years that I told you that I was in school and stuff, I would drink so much. Um, I feel this is my way of seeing it. Like you need to have a balance, right? Then what I preach is how to add healthier things, habits to your life, but that doesn't mean that you cut your lifestyle completely. So yes, I drink, let's say once a week, probably whenever I have an event or I'm with my friends or something. Right now, if you're focusing on a fat loss process, maybe go for clear drinks like vodka, tequila, aguardiente. It's very popular in Colombia. If somebody's
Mhm.
watching, you can drink. Like I wouldn't cut it out of your life if that's something
I,
that it's part of you.
I don't drink much nowadays. Only thing I'll enjoy every once in a while is some whiskey. I like an old fashioned. Love an
Nice.
old fashioned. And some red wine, dry red wine.
So, exactly. Like it's all everything in excess is it's bad, right? So like, I mean, if you drink a couple of drinks a week, it's not really gonna do nothing to you, unless you're trying to compete for Mr. Olympia and you want to like these huge muscles and like 0% body fat, to say it like that. Then yes, you have to cut it out. But if you just want to have a healthier lifestyle and look better, you don't need to do that. Like, the reason why you're not losing fat or building muscle won't be because you're drinking 4 drinks a week. Okay, that's my way of seeing it.
So it's just about being overall a lot more disciplined than not disciplined. Focusing on the important things, and then when you have enough discipline and you're doing the necessities, that's when you can enjoy and indulge a little bit. I
Yeah,
think that's really the key. I think that's the key. And I think it's the thing that's hard about fitness, many things, but the thing that's tough about fitness is you mentioned when you don't work out on Tuesday and you'll skip the rest of the week. I think people go, well, the chances of me looking like that guy or the chance of me looking like that girl are impossible. Most of these Instagram videos are filters. Most of these pictures are not even real. They're so edited anyway. Don't aim to look perfect. Just aim to look a little bit better every day. And at the end of the day, don't beat yourself up. Like, I look in the mirror, I'll take my shirt off and look in the mirror, and I'm like, I can definitely work on it. I can lose some
everybody
body
can.
fat, whatever.
Yeah,
I also say to myself, I'm still in better shape than most people I come in contact with. And I go, and I pat myself on the back for that. I go, you know what? I have muscle. I've built a solid foundation of muscle. It's dense muscle that I've built over years. I'm strong. I can lift a lot of weight.
yeah,
And to me, that's fun because I'm not 31, just start. There's a lot of people that are in their 30s that just start working out. I can go into a gym. I know which machines are what I know how to do all these compound movements. A gym is very familiar to me. I feel like home in a gym. And I'm very happy about that because some people walk into a gym and I'm like, I don't know what the hell all this metal shit is. I don't know what this does and how it works. And you just see all these guys in there, and they're like, oh, and
yeah,
they're moving all the pieces, right? For you, you're like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. He's working out his back, whatever. And you see he's moving all these things around, putting his straps, putting all these different things. But to you, you've been to the gym
no,
many
it's
times, you
nice
know
how
how it
you
works.
learn along the process, right?
But
Like, you
but
start to understand more. Yeah,
right, but for people that it's new to, you go into a gym and you see people clanking metal around and you're like, what is going on here? Right?
yeah,
It's a whole new world.
it is.
So I like it's like with anything else, you build familiarity with it once you do it. You just get used to it. Yeah.
And yes, and like, for example, a lot of people compare themselves to others, right? And that's not really the point. And I gotta say, the point is the focus, and people shouldn't think on the outcome, on the
Mhm.
result
Mhm.
in fitness or in anything in life, like maybe becoming rich, let's say, or yeah, exactly, something like that. It's all about the process. You gotta enjoy the process and go through the process, learn from the process, and that's gonna take you to the result, because it's not the same going through a whole process and getting the result than just if somebody would hand you a result right there. And most of the times, and this is something that has happened to me in my life with my successes, whenever you get to the result, you don't feel as good than how good you feel you're gonna feel. Okay, so I don't know if that was understood, but for example, with the push-up challenge, it was a whole year thinking that I was gonna feel amazing, so fulfilled that I went through this journey, this challenge, right? But I completed it, and I was like, huh, okay, that's nice. What goes next, right? So what I really take from that push-up challenge is not the outcome. It's not that I completed it. It's all the journey that took me to that result.
I
You know?
love that, by the way. It makes me think about real estate and podcasting and how when you're going through the journey of it and you aren't incredibly successful at it, you crave the finish line. And the finish line is subjective because what is the
It
finish line?
never ends.
What I mean by finish line is you can look at it and say, I made it. You can look at it and say, yeah, I made a $500,000 this year selling real estate. Yeah, I'm not the richest real estate agent, but I made it. Most I'm in the 1% of American income.
Yeah.
That's I call that making it to a large extent. And especially if you get to 1 million a year or 2 million a year, you definitely made it, right? Now, most people in that kind of frame of mind are the kind of people that are going to still keep working, but you still quote unquote made it. And I've heard very successful people say when you do get to that point, you surprisingly, but not so surprisingly, you miss the journey of it, because the journey is what really taught you everything. The journey was the part where you were getting knocked in the face over and over and over, and you have to keep figuring out solutions. You have to keep dodging the dodgeballs, dodging the wrenches,
Yeah.
and that's where the real warrior was made. But then when you get to the finish line, it's like, okay, well, what now? Where's
Yeah.
the excitement? And then you go seeking more challenges because that thrill was actually what you lived for.
That's what a lot of people miss. Touching to a subject like, for example, Ozempic, right?
Oh, that's a good topic.
Ozempic or visceral surgeries,
I hope
right?
the Ozempic people listening to this don't just shut off.
Yeah.
They get offended. They're like, I don't want to hear this.
Like it's like you're cutting, you're skipping the whole point of it, right? And what happens with Ozempic going into it? Yes, you're gonna lose fat and you're gonna lose it fast, but in the process, you're also gonna lose muscle. You're gonna lose energy. You're gonna feel weak. And when you stop taking Ozempic, once you're done losing all the fat that you want, you haven't learned how to have a proper nutrition, how to eat, and you're gonna gain it back.
There's no trick. God made the world in a way. You can't avoid the hard work, man. There's
You
always a
can.
side effect. When you try to avoid the hard work, there's always a cost. People are like, oh, this Ozempic, it cuts out all the hard work. I could just, no, it doesn't.
That's why a lot of people with Ozempic now they look, skinny fat. That they look that you're skinny, but you don't have any muscle, so all the fat that you have, you still look fat. Like that's what most people that take Ozempic look like.
Just smaller fat people.
Yeah, they're literally smaller fat people and weaker. Like, and it sounds harsh to say, but it's the truth. Like, and if you're taking that or you're thinking on taking Ozempic, this is the moment to actually rethink on it, right? And instead of just seeking the result, like go through the journey and you're gonna learn and you're gonna be able to sustain it for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
With Ozempic, you don't do that. It's not sustainable, right? We don't know what effects it has in the long term, right?
Yeah, it's because
Yeah.
it's a newer thing, so we don't know
Yeah.
what this stuff does. Yeah. In general, man, it's going through the motions of it. I actually started working out because I was skinny, not because I was fat. I was
Okay.
one of those really skinny kids. And when I was in high school, what was it, in like ninth grade, 10th grade, beginning of 10th grade, some girls would tease me for being super skinny. They were like, "You're so skinny. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah."
That's a motivation
And I
there.
was like, I hate that shit. I was like, I don't want to be skinny.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that common, but I got it a couple of times. I got it a few times. I was like, I don't like this because those were the girls that said it to me, but I'm sure there were a lot of others that thought it.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man, I don't want to be skinny anymore. And so I had a buddy, my buddy Mike, who was working out at the time, and he was like a pretty muscular dude, short guy, but very muscular. And I started working out with him at about 15, and a couple of months later, I was still small, but I started to put on some muscle. A year later, I was considerably bigger. And that was, I mean, considerably bigger at 16 wasn't
Yeah.
huge at all. Not like, now much
I
bigger,
mean,
but
at that age, you do like you're growing.
I had
So
muscles on me,
yeah,
And then
exactly.
once I got to 18, 19, 20, I was still slim, but I already had a good muscular, I had a six pack. I was like really shredded. I looked really fit. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was in crazy shape.
Nice.
Now, I definitely prefer being bulkier like I am now. I just got to lose the belly fat. Because if I had that body at my age now, I just think it would look weird. I'd look like a boy.
Yeah.
I prefer having like, big chest and
I'm in the same point as you, by the way. Like, I'm going through a body recompositioning myself, and I've been doing this for over a year.
Mhm.
Like, I also want to lose some belly fat. I want to get a six pack. I've never had a six pack. It's there, but I need to lose
Mhm.
more body fat. But I'm doing it in a way that first I don't have to put
What time
much.
is it, by the way?
It's 12:11. I don't have to cut out my habits in my life and go to a restrictive diet at all. Then I'm gaining muscle while I'm losing fat. So what I'm doing is pretty much is changing and lowering my body fat percentage, and that's what I've been doing from January. My body fat was in, I think it was almost in 11.5%,
Mm-hmm.
and right now it's in less than 9%, and I've gained so much muscle in the process. So that's what I'm doing, and yeah, we're in a similar journey.
That's what I want to do. I want to be big, and I mean that's what everyone. No, not everyone. Some people like to be very slim, but I like to have noticeably big muscle and low body fat. So that's what I really want to focus on. And I'm really happy to have a friend like you because your knowledge and having your discipline, I
Of
think would
course,
be.
man. Any
We
question?
go on
Like,
walks together, bro. Hopefully we'll do
yeah,
that. Now, here's a really good conversation. What do you say about the people that are not taking things like Trenbolone and Anavar, but they're doing the TRT? People that I have a buddy who's my age and he's taking TRT, and I'm like, dude, he doesn't have kids, he's not married. I'm like, dude, that's risky shit
yeah.
because your body's going to rely on it. It can hurt your fertility. It can be very dangerous. And I think once you go down that rabbit hole and you taste that kind of thing, I don't see him getting off of that stuff.
TRT, you meaning like a testosterone boost,
Replacement,
right? Yeah,
and you see he's very shredded, and he works out. Don't get me wrong, and he eats healthy. He does everything else, but that vascularity is very clearly from steroids.
yeah.
It's very hard to get to that level of vascularity without
Taking any like,
what's the abbreviation for performance enhancing PEDs.
okay,
I think he understands the risks, but doesn't really. He knows what the risks are, but isn't really willing to come to terms with them. I think he's so obsessed with looking a certain way that he's willing to forego his health. So,
yeah.
what's your take on that? Because I'd like him to listen to this.
First off, and I've made videos about it. I don't recommend any TRT testosterone boosters at all because there's things that you can add to your life that make the same effect or even better. Okay, then that's not sustainable. It has side effects, and compared to the things that you can add to your life that they're sustainable and they don't have side effects, and the effects are positive to you, right? So yes, I don't recommend taking any performance enhancement like drugs or something like that. Steroids, like it's, yeah, you don't need any of that. Now, if you're in a place where you're already super shredded, super big, and you just wanna continue growing, I mean, I think there's a bigger reason behind it. You just gotta think like, what's the reason why you wanna be so big?
Mm-hmm.
And most times it's related to a psychological reason, right? Like an
Insecurity.
insecurity. It comes down to an insecurity, and our minds tend to do this. And bodybuilders deal a lot with this, like people that compete, right, on shows. You know how most people, they see like people that compete, bodybuilders, and they don't look nice, right? Like you can see all their veins, huge muscles, like no fat, all super tanned, right? Like they're, for the regular population, that's not a good body, right? But for them, that's really good, and they need to get better. And it's because your mind gets used to the body that it sees every day, and it translates that to like it's not good enough.
Some people do like it though. Some people think it's beautiful. Some women love it. Some women love men like that. There is a market for that
Yeah,
kind of physique where people love it. Your average human sees it as weird. I think most humans are. I like the word enamored, where they're very impressed by it in a way. They're like, wow, this person must be so disciplined to have this kind of body,
oh, definitely.
and they are. They're
They are super disciplined.
so I do respect that amount of discipline, but it's just, to me, I wonder, they're probably so insecure about how they look. It's hard for me to understand that kind of.
I feel like it comes down to the reason why you do it.
Right.
Because I know people, I have friends that I've met online through the social media they have always worked out regularly, like lived a healthier lifestyle, but they want to compete. They want to go through that experience, and
Yeah.
it's admirable. Like it's respectable that they have the discipline and to go through that, because it's not easy at all.
No way.
You need so much discipline. So that's, if you do it for that reason, like I completely understand. Like it's a goal that you have in mind. It's something that you want to check off your to do list. So that's pretty good. Now, when it comes to like an insecurity, that now it's not about competing a few times. It's like you make it part of your life. You want to continue through that route, and there's never an ending place, right? You just want to keep getting bigger, keep getting more shredded, and that's when you start taking these performance drugs, enhancements drugs, right?
Mhm.
So that's when I feel we need to focus more on the reason why somebody does it, right? Because the purpose defines the the consequence. I don't know if, yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
I just think once you do it, bro, it's too late. I think once you get on that stuff, you ain't get it. Like to get off of it, very tough.
No, I never recommend it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was talking
No,
about
I know
like
you weren't
competing.
recommending it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it. I think if you're in your 50s and maybe you had kids already and you don't want to have any more kids and maybe you're starting to get a little flabby, yeah, I think TRT may have its place later in life if maybe your T is low and you know, again, you don't care to have children. It could still be somewhat risky, but I think at that point I would even consider taking a low dosage. But at 30, I don't have kids yet. I plan on having them, God willing. It doesn't make any sense. I have a lot of I have plenty of testosterone. I can tell. I do want to get it checked just to see where I'm at, but day to day, I have a lot of motivation to go to the gym, to do things, to accomplish. I have a good amount of muscle. I don't think I lack in the
and
testosterone
that's
department.
because you live a healthy lifestyle. So yes, as you mentioned, low dosage, it can be beneficial for some people,
Like
but
Joe Rogan, he takes it. A lot of these
yeah,
people take it.
we first have to think like, okay, it's okay, but have you tried other things before? Like, let's try other things that we
Right.
can apply. And if those don't work or they're not good enough, maybe we can start a conversation of adding a lower dosage, right? But
Mhm.
like, there's steps to make. You don't go right ahead for it. You first try other things, and same with the Ozempic. Like the Ozempic can be beneficial for some people. There's people that actually because of their body have a huge struggle on fat loss, right? So for those people, it can be beneficial. But let's think again. What have you tried before? Did you really try to do it? And if it didn't work, maybe we can add the Ozempic to your routine in a lower dosage to see the effect that it does, right?
That's an interesting point. So you're not saying to cut it out completely, but to really understand your needs, your level of discipline, what you have you tried the other alternatives before? I think most people are not going to try the other alternatives if there's an easier way, man. Like
One hundred
the
percent.
reality, bro, is that most people, when they have an easier alternative, will choose the either easier alternative 9 out of 10 times. Even if you explain the risks and the side effects, if you give them here are two options, they will both technically lead to the same place, even though they don't, but technically lead to the same place. This is much easier. This is much harder. They're running to the easy option. You can
Yeah.
make $1 million here by doing this, but it's illegal and it can send you to jail for 10 years. Or you could do this, which may take 20, 30 years to get that $1 million, but you're not going to have to look over your shoulder. It's not illegal, won't go to prison. Which one are you going to do? Well, I don't want to go to prison, but how likely is it that I'm going to get caught?
Yeah.
I could get this million in 2 months. Boom. Like, people just want easy.
People are lazy. Like most people are lazy, and
That's why it makes it so much sweeter for everybody else.
yeah.
I love that. I honestly love that. As people want to be lazy, fine by me, man. You
That's
know,
why it's important to be surrounded by people that align with your goals.
I think we covered some great topics. Of course, there's more to talk about. I'll bring you on again. Is there anything I'll let you obviously put in your socials, website, anything to promote yourself? Is there any other topic, little thing you wanted to throw in there? Anything that was on your mind that you wanted to bring up?
Honestly, I feel like we touched on a bunch of things. We spoke about discipline and consistency. We spoke about, also we touched a bit, not the word, but we did give examples of resilience, right? We spoke about fat loss. maybe we could have touched a bit more on muscle growth, right? In another conversation, a conversation we can do that. But and thank you for introducing me and giving me this space to tell my story, right? To tell my story of why I'm doing what I'm doing now
Mhm.
and how I got here. And it wasn't an easy path, and it's been a bunch of ups and downs, but the road isn't perfect. You just have to adapt, learn, and keep going. And
Absolutely,
that's
absolutely.
what it is. I appreciate it for everybody there. My social is it's Coach Gabriel. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and soon in I'm also on LinkedIn for Gabriel Bromberg. So no, thank you very much, Rafi, for having me here, man.
My pleasure, brother.
Let's do
My
it
pleasure.
again.
For sure. We'll do a round two. Guys, I'm glad you made it this far. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you got a tremendous amount of value from it. Get your asses in the gym, eat cleaner so you could enjoy the shitty soul food every now and then. Make sure to follow Gabriel at It's Coach Gabriel on all of his socials. Make sure to follow me at Rafi the Realtor. You could also follow my Soothing Semantics page on Instagram as well. The Realtor page is the more active one. I tend to use more often. You can see my podcast reels there. You can see my real estate deals. Of course, link in bio for my weekly newsletter. Also, it would be a tremendous help if you can support the channel. So you can buy me a coffee and a link in the description on this YouTube video. Whether it's a $5 donation or whatever you feel comfortable with, it would mean a tremendous amount so I can continue to build this channel, bring value, and continue doing what I'm doing. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing and doing what I'm doing anyway, but this would allow things to maybe go a little bit faster. So thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, share the video, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.